Yes, hear your voice.
Baruch Hashem. There we go, Yitz. How you doing?
Amazing, Baruch Hashem. We are doing amazing, really great.
So, New York Boys Choir. I still remember about the idea of this choir back in the day, and then you went to this one album. Let me ask you, Yitzy, when you had this idea to do a boy, which is obviously something very close to you because of your campus connections, your choir over there, things that you do during the year. Did you ever think that this many years later, a third and possibly a fourth album would be in the works?
Of course I thought this way. This is what I was planning on. This is what I wanted so badly. This venue of working with children is one of my favorite things. Besides in the chinuch aspect, I really feel that kids today, they need kosher outlets. And for those boys who love to sing and dance and find out about the hashkafa of Jewish music and what it's all about on a Sunday afternoon, later afternoon, it's a wonderful experience for them. It's not the performances, but just the actual activity of it. Amazing for these kids. So yes, to answer the question, I really felt that this is a great, great thing, and that it was an Me'eretz Hashem. I plan to continue more happy years.
I keep forgetting who I'm talking to. Yitzy Bald, probably songs for the next 5 albums already lined up on his computer.
We have in Camp Aguda, we have a section called the Cantata.
Right.
It's by people from all over the country. It's unbelievable. It's 2 days before Tisha B'Av. Mm-hmm. Rabbi Shimon Finkelman is the playwright, and he asked me as the choir leader to write songs. So I usually write 5 new songs for these productions. Many times he has it, cemented the theme maybe 2 weeks before, a week before, and the Siyata D'Shmaya, I come up with these 4 or 5 beautiful slow songs with his chus, because he's a big tzaddik, this Rabbi Shimon, and I feel it's totally attributed, these beautiful songs, slow songs that came out on New York Boys Choir 1 and Volume 2, the sequel, now Menagen, the third one. The slow songs of them were from those cantatas, and I have many year songs from those cantatas waiting to be put out on albums, which I'd like to talk to you shortly.
Shortly after this interview or during the interview?
During the interview, after the interview.
Bald, New York Boys Choir. Volume 1 was, of course, a self-titled album. Volume 2 was entitled The Sequel. Volume 3, Menagen. I mean, how did you come up with that? How did you come up with that title? Were you gonna go back Star Wars and go the prequel or Volume 3? How did you pick this name? A self-titled and then Volume 2. Okay,
so we decided that on this album we wanted to album a Hebrew titled word, mm-hmm. and Menagen was one of the key songs that we were working on this third, and I really, really love this song. It's a very special song. It basically talks about how the Nevi'im, when they wanted to receive prophecy, they would need the music to inspire them, because otherwise they wouldn't receive the prophecy. The same thing in today's generation. We have a lot of today's generations, and for a Jewish person to be receptive to simcha and feel good, music is one of those really, really top things that we need today.
Agreed.
So Menagen, just epitomizes music. So, of course, in the album, we decided to put boys with instruments to rent that fact.
No, great job. Yitzy Bald on the phone with us. Talked New York Boys Choir's third album, Menagen, in stores now, available through Aderet Music, on Google Play, and coming soon to iTunes, but it's on most and CD Baby, I think, Yitzy, right?
It's yes, and on Amazon Google Music. Play,
correct.
Mostly Music. Menagen Music has it also. So there are many digital outlets that have it available, and of course at the stores too.
Now, when you're a choir leader, I'm sure there's a quick turnaround as these kids, their voices only maintain till a certain age. After that, their voices start changing. Do you find it's easier to get kids with good voices, or it got harder this years? I mean, what's the experience like?
Well, listen, there are plenty of good voices. It's about a good voice, believe it or not, to join the choir. See, in my choir, one of the things is I don't necessarily need the top voice in the choir. That's necessarily what I'm after or seeking. What I'm seeking are boys who love to sing and dance and be part of that experience on a weekly basis. So not just prior to performances, to come in a few weeks before and be part of a performance, but really the whole experience of the year. So those boys who love to spend that kind of time every Sunday or depending on which part of the year it is. I mean, we're basically running almost a whole year's worth of practices, and these kids enjoy that experience. Besides the videos and besides the albums that we record and the concerts, but it's a special type of kid. So yes, the answer is yes. There are definitely plenty of good voices out there, but this experience is specifically catered to boys who love to sing and dance as part of practices.
Mm-hmm. So this is about an experience. You're not just about having a choir to perform and to release albums, but more about, I guess, a kosher outlet for kids today.
Right. And of course, the professionality of it is very important because we're not just running an extracurricular activity. Of course, there are certain levels. Like if a boy is not going to sing on key, unfortunately, this venue might not work for him. I do have certain, expectations. A boy has to have a decent voice.
Right.
He has to have certain level of coordination. And, of course, I train them throughout the practices, and it shows itself in the performances. I mean, we just came now off a stellar, unbelievable performance with Yeshiva Boys Choir and the Sephardic Boys Choir over Sukkot. We did a 3-show tour over Sukkot, and it was amazing. I mean, It was Eli Gerstner's brainchild, and I give him a lot of credit. I take it as a big compliment. We were later on in the game, and he invited us and the Sephardic Boys Choir to come perform together on the same stage, and we did quite a few songs, and it was really an amazing experience. These boys really shown. Yossi Newman, Eli Gerstner, I believe the one who leads the Sephardic Boys Choir, his name is Jack Bracha.
That's
I believe
right.
his name is
Braha, yes.
Braha. And they were all saying, we loved each other's choirs. We were all doing something that fits a community need, something that is well received. Each choir is very different and has what to bring to the table. So, Baruch Hashem, B'liyah and Hara, really great experience, this choir. I love it. The kids love it. And as far as turnaround that you mentioned, yes, I mean, boys' voices do change, but I never send the kid out of a choir. In other words, even if a boy's voice starts to change, so let's say he can only sing the low parts of the songs, or he could dance, I would never ask a kid to leave. Usually, by the time they hit high school, they make that decision. It happens to be that right now I have one high school young man whose voice hasn't changed, and he loves the choir so much, he wants to be part of it. He doesn't want to leave.
Interesting. I have a message here from Ushi Shapiro. He says, Yitzy Spalt sounding amazing. Wishing you Hatzlacha as always, and he's glad to have had a small part to do with your production.
Oh, let me tell you something. It wasn't a small part. First of all, as a parent, Ushi is a wonderful person, a wonderful parent. His son Yitzy was in my choir and had an amazing experience. I mean, the growth that I saw for myself, for Yitzy, for the rest of the kids in the choir was absolutely amazing. For his bar mitzvah, he actually put out a single in conjunction with myself. I produced it, and he made the song. He made the words, and he put out by the bar mitzvah. I mean, for a boy to get to that level of confidence, a choir really does amazing things. It really does, as do many other outlets and other things in the Jewish experience.
It definitely does. Yitzy Bald via telephone talking to us about the New York Boys Choir's brand new album, Menagen. Yitzy, this production, you went a little bit of a different route. I believe you hooked up with a well-known guitarist and arranger, Aryeh Kunstler.
So Aryeh Kunstler is a mega talented guy. He's an amazing guitar player. He's an arranger. He's a composer. He's a singer. He did all the background vocals in terms of adults on this album. And I love it. I mean, I just love the energy he brings. I love his arrangements. Very organic, very band feeling, it was a little bit of a different sound on our album.
Definitely.
And Baruch Hashem, we got some really, really great feedback. People are loving the songs. They're loving the sound of it. They're loving the fact that it's organic. It doesn't sound too electronic-y. It has that very natural band sound, and the choir sounds great. The soloist, B'liyah Nara, we're getting really, really great feedback, and he played a major, major part. All those hours and sessions that I had with him. I mean, he took us to the boondocks to record the drums by some studio. I don't even remember the name of the studio. Somewhere almost upstate, and the experiences with Aryeh are amazing. I mean, we had so much fun just recording the drums alone. Every note, every nuance. He's really great. He's very talented.
So that is definitely something very different. Besides Aryeh, you worked with...
Yeah, I mean, listen, Aryeh was most of the songs on the album, and then we had, Baruch Hashem, one of the top foremost arrangers today and producers, Donnie Gross.
That's right.
Unbelievable. What a mensch, a Ben Torah. Every time I go to his studio, the kids have such a great time. We recorded some songs by his studio. It's like an experience. He really knows how to, make it exciting, fun. He's very quick. He works very quickly, and he's very, very talented, and his music is fantastic. I've actually met Donnie at a bar mitzvah, ironically. His brother's bar mitzvah. I played the one-man band.
Really?
At a bar mitzvah. and they were giving out a CD over there for the bar mitzvah, and I heard the background vocals in the CD, and I found out that it was Donnie that actually did it for his brother.
Right.
I loved those background vocals so much. I mean, Donnie was very young then. I said to him, Donnie, this really sounds great. I want you to be my vocal, adult vocal
Coach.
guy.
Yes.
For the New York Boys Choir Volume 1. He did all the adult vocals together with his friends on NYBC Volume 1.
I always find it funny when I hear about you and Donnie, because you were like believing in Donnie. You saw that talent when he started, and I believe you helped him, learning a little bit of what he knows today. But I mean, he has grown so much since then.
Oh, he's outdone me, man.
I didn't want to say he surpassed the master, but yeah.
No. Listen, Baruch Hashem. Let me explain to you something. Eli Gerstner, when he put out Yeshiva Boys Choir, years later, he came over to me and says, Yitzy, before I put out Yeshiva Boys Choir, I studied your Mendy Ward L'Chaim album 1,000 times. Mm-hmm. The arrangements, the guitars, the bass, the piano, the drums, every aspect of it. So yes, I've been around a little bit longer than those composer arrangers in terms of age, but they've listened and learned, and that's the beauty of it all. First of all, Rebbe's never jealous of his talent. That's number one. And number two, these guys are very talented, and there's nothing wrong with listening and learning from other people and then even surpassing. So I'm very proud of them. I think they did amazing stuff, and they continue to do amazing stuff. And I'm really excited about what these people bring to the table, even in today's day and age. 100%.
Now let me ask you something, Yitzy. Being that every single song on this album is yours, a lot of composers compare their songs to children. How do you decide which one of your children get to be in the album and which one don't?
So that's pretty simple. A lot of times when I bring songs to the practices, I see the feedback of the children. I see how they fit into the song, how it jives with them, and at the practices, do they appreciate it? That's also very important. It plays a key factor. You see the response of the kids themselves and whether they're loving a song or whether they're getting into it. That's an important part of it. It's true. Us composers make many, many, many songs. I mean, I'm sitting in my studio right now, and I have cases and cases of tapes and CDs and recordings of songs I made, who knows, at 3 o'clock in the morning. And half of them are not on any albums because they're just bits and pieces. If I listen back to them, I'd probably be able to take a lot of them out. But who has the time to go back and listen to all this stuff? I mean, basically, you're bouncing it off people and listening for people's advice. I know that I send a lot of my songs to people I know, Donnie Gross for one, or Avrami Gurari another, and I have them listen to it, tell me their feedback on the words, on the song, on the concept. So it's very much about, dealing with other people and finding out from other people how they feel about a song before you actually put it out. Right. There are times that, I feel so strongly about a song that I would put it out in any case. But usually I'm bouncing it off other people.
Right. The one thing I always find interesting with you, especially with the New York Boys Choir albums, you have this godless to you that you always manage to find lyrics that nobody's ever heard of or nobody's ever used before. Where does that come from?
Listen, I have to say that there are definitely other people that do that, Yossi. So, for example, Yossi Green picked out a Tanya, picked out an Adarabba. I mean, I could go through the list. Rizal. Oh my gosh, Yonatan and his brother, I believe, Aaron Rizal?
Yes.
Wow, the way they come up with they're picking lyrics off for who knows where.
But on the New York Boys Choir album, you can have 10 out of 13 tracks that you've never heard the lyrics, not just one.
No, it's true. It's true. I like to write my own lyrics. So, yes, I know that, for example, right now there is, I believe, a lady, Miriam Israeli,
yes,
who writes a lot of Hebrew lyrics for people at this point in time, if I got that name correct.
Yes.
But I always had an affinity. I didn't know Hebrew so well till I got a little bit older. When I started to teach, and I had this Rabbi Winder, who pointed out a lot about dikduk and things like that. So I started to get very interested in really writing in Hebrew, because I happen to love the language. It's our language. And I love to bring out my thoughts and my ideas in the Hebrew language. So yes, I do come up with my own lyrics, or sometimes very big twists on them. Like in the song Susumin, which perhaps we'll discuss very soon. Twists on words or concepts. So yeah, I like to be creative. when I was 9 years old and I started playing accordion, my mother, Allah Shalom, she spoke to my father about my musicality. She said, maybe we should give him lessons. So I remember her name was Miss Lorner. She was my accordion teacher.
Yeah, I remember we discussed this once, Taka, yeah.
And, it was funny. Like, I used to get lessons from her, and she would give me homework over the week and say, come back and play this piece. And when I would play it the next Friday, I would play totally different, like with all these improvisations and everything on it. And she'd come down at the end of the lesson and she'd say to my mother, what does he think he's doing to Beethoven? What does he think he's some sort of composer or something? He's like changing all the pieces. So, yeah, the juices are there already from a very young age. And I like to be creative. So, Baruch Hashem, the originality, shows itself also in the lyrics and the way I write lyrics. So I definitely don't like to just take a standard pasuk and place it on a rock beat or a disco beat and call it a song. I like to really plant in from beginning to end, including the lyrics, the energy.
Yep. Composer, arranger, and producer Yitzy Bald talking to us via telephone about New York Boys Choir's new album, Menagen, in stores now. Yitzy, you mentioned Camp Aguda before, and I can't help but wonder that there is a song in this album called Aguda, or rather,
So that song was made up for a concert. Unbelievable. We had a concert with Avram Fried. I mean, we had many, many top singers come to Camp Aguda. I mean, Camp Aguda is, Baruch Hashem, a very well-renowned and known camp. It does a lot for Klal Yisrael, the Agudas Yisrael of America. So these singers, they want to be there. So, Baruch Hashem, they many times give us nice prices and they'll deal with us because they really want to be part of the Camp Aguda experience. So we had Camp Aguda, many concerts, and Avram Fried came already 2-3 times to Camp Aguda. Mm-hmm. And I had my choir perform at that concert 3 or 4 songs, and amongst them was Aguda. Now, it talks about achdus and caring about one another, which is what Aguda really means, like a bundle. We're one. And so we made up that song for Aguda concert with Avram Fried, and it was a mega hit. It came out like it was unbelievable at the camp. The place was going wild, and I decided to put it on the album.
So how old is the song, though? This is just 2-3 years old?
The song came out, I believe, in 2013 or 2014.
So not that old. Now, Susu Min that you were talking about that came in number 1, by the way, last night in our top 9 at 9. What can you tell us about Susu Min? Because somebody wrote on Facebook when we wrote number 1 that they said that Yitzy says this pasuk anytime he loses something.
Well, there's a special Mamar Chazal, and it says, Amar Rabban Yomen Akal V'Cheska Sumin. Everything is considered, lost, mm-hmm. or the person is blinded from it, right, until HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes and lights up his eyes. And then we get that from Hagar. She was looking for water in the desert. Right. So if you say that whole Mamar Chazal, there is a concept that you actually find things after you say it. This Mamar Chazal from Rabbi Binyamin. Of course, there's Alakad de Meir Arneni too.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're putting Rabbi Meir out of business, but yeah.
Some people combine it. Some people just say, Rabbi Binyamin. Some people just say Alakad de Meir Arneni. But there's definitely this segula, to do such a thing. And I've used it many, many times. I joke sometimes that I probably found my shidduch that way too. Now, people find a lot of lost things after they say that. It's really incredible. There's something very special about that pasuk. So, or that mamar. So I did switch up the words a little. I made it a little bit, kiddie-ish. Right. I call it Susumin, but it's very cute and really geschmack song. It really sounds good. So, Baruch Hashem, we had a great experience with that song, with that recording. The kids really loved it, and that's why I chose to put on the album.
I was going to say between Susumin, and Nu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some people that tell me that, my target market, which is a lot of kids, they like repetition of words. So it's like a mantra almost.
Right.
I mean, listen, a lot of people do that these days in their music. It used to be that Jewish music was pretty much straight pasuk, but now there's a lot of twists and moves to make it interesting, your own feelings, your own inflections. And kids like to repeat words. That's their mantra.
I got to tell you, I got to applaud you for putting out an album with not 1, not 10, not 12, 16 tracks. I mean, that's a big gift.
And I would have done 24 if I could. but the CDs don't hold that much.
No, you can always make a double or triple album, Yitzy,
I know. But that would cost a fortune, so I'm not ready to do that yet.
Still, 16 tracks. For those of you who feel that, 3 or 4 of the tracks were previously released as singles with music videos, and if they would feel they get cheated, Yitzy's giving you 16 tracks. Even if you heard 3 or 4, there's 12 you haven't heard yet. 12 tracks. It's more than you're getting for everybody else. And what is it on iTunes? $9 or $12, Yitzy? How much is it already?
Yeah, it's around that amount, yeah.
It's a joke. So if you have not got this album, I definitely implore you to buy it. I've been enjoying it. Songs like Menagen. B'toch HaKetzef was also doing very well on the 9 at 9. Ace Eretz is a gorgeous song. I mean, Yitzy, I gotta wish you Mazel Tov and Hatzlacha Rabbah with the new album, because I am loving it. My kids are loving it. Fans everywhere. I told you, my cousin's a Rebbe in Chicago. He was here for Yontav. He said this was the one album he bought, and he listened to it 14 hours on the trip, back and forth.
Well, Hashem, the truth is I'm getting the same feedback. I'm really getting it, like people are playing one song to the next. Of course, I always ask people what their favorites are, but and people do tell me, but they tell me this album, it's good Jewish music. It's just, it's not too wild, it's not too passé. It's got the right blend, and Baruch Hashem, I think we're doing wonderful things. The whole choir experience, the song selections, the arrangements, and the people I'm working with. I'm very, very happy about this product. And Amir Hashem, listen, we have plans on doing some other amazing stuff. Well, hopefully we're going to work on a cappella Kumsitz album.
Oh wow!
Perhaps with music, perhaps without music. Different ideas. I've been speaking to Donnie Gross a lot about different ideas. He's really, I bounce a lot of things off him. He really has a good take on things. Mir Hashem, we're ready. Right after Hanukkah, we're starting to work on our next regular release. Believe it or not, I told the boys at the rehearsal that we already have a bunch of songs for our next album. So we're ready to go. All I can say is we're always looking for great talent, and if there's any boy who's interested in auditioning for the choir, whichever neighborhood you live in, there are carpools, there are people who come from all over. Baruch Hashem, we have kids from every segment of Klal Yisrael, from the right to the left, and my main thing is they should be a mensch, good kids, well behaved. Fun with each other, good with each other. So Baruch Hashem.
How does one get in touch with you?
So you can call me on my cell phone, straight up, 917-225-3113, or at my home phone, 718-471-1828, or you can reach out to us on
Facebook.
On my email, Yitzy Bald, YITZY
at
gmail.com.
And of course, you have your New York Boys Choir Facebook page.
Facebook page, yeah. A lot of people reach us that way too.
That's right.
We have a parent who put us on Instagram right now also, so we're known on there. New York Boys Choir, I believe. So Baruch Hashem, we have a lot of connections. A lot of people want to reach out to us many different ways, and we're always looking for boys who are good, well-behaved, who love to sing and dance, love that experience on a pretty weekly basis. And that's what we do. We're very happy and proud about it.
Well, Yitzy, we're shkoyach. We're happy to have you on the program. We're going to play you out with believe it or not.
Thank you.
I was listening to it this morning. So, ladies and gentlemen, brand new album, New York Boys Choir, Menagen, in stores now, available through Aderet Music, online, Amazon Music, Google Play, CD Baby, mostlymusic.com, nigganmusic.com, and hopefully coming soon to iTunes. 16 amazing tracks composed by Yitzy Bald, arranged by Ari Kunstler with the help of Donnie Gross.
Thank you so much.
Yitzy, have an amazing winter. We're looking forward to hear great things from you in the choir.
Oh, man. Thank you. You too.
Take care.
Bye-bye.